Hey everyone, we're here with the Woman Project. This is Tammy, and we're here with Jocelyn as well. And we are in Newport, Rhode Island tonight. We are projecting on the old colony house in Newport, which was actually built in early to mid 1700s, about 1730s, this building. And guess who built it? Enslaved people built this building. This was our first state house up until 1901, I believe. This is the old colony house in Newport. And we're here to get the word out about voting and also just reminding Rhode Islanders to learn more about our own history in this state. So I'm just going to read. So Newport dominated the slave trade, and that's not an exaggeration. During the mid-1700s, about 30% of white Newport families owned slaves. And let's remedy past injustice. Vote to advance racial justice today. Our vote is our choice. About 20% of Newport registered voters voted in the primary. Let's increase that number, Newport. Does your vote advance racial justice? Our vote is our choice. Mr. Speaker, Rhode Island had enslaved people in 1752 and even before that. Well, had enslaved people in 1763 and before that. And this is, I'll explain the graphics in a moment.
Hey guys, this is our car. We're gonna
Oops, sorry.
I don't want to interrupt your video.
No problem. Go right ahead. Don't want to be in your way. All right. So we're just bringing attention. Rhode Island had enslaved people in 1752. And this is a map of the triangular trade in 1752. And Rhode Island had enslaved people in 1763. And this is an ad in the Newport Mercury advertising enslaved people. During the mid-1700s, 30% of white families in Newport owned slaves. So let's remedy past injustice to vote to advance racial justice today. 20% of Newport registered voters voted in the primary last time. That's small, Newport. We can do better. And the deadline to request a mail ballot is August 18th. That's this Tuesday coming up. But you could also vote early in person starting August 19th. Or you can vote in the primary on September 8th. In 1752, this is a map of the triangular trade, which is centered in Newport. In 1763, this was an ad in the Newport Mercury advertising enslaved people for sale in Newport. And Newport dominated the slave trade. They dominated it. Newport was one of the busiest slave trading ports in the United States. Often, Newport distilleries would make rum and other things and send those things to the African coast and trade those things for enslaved people. And then the people would get sent to the Caribbean. But many also came up here as well. And they built this building. This is the old colony house. This was our first state house in Rhode Island. So we think it's important to know our history as Rhode Islanders, and let's remedy the past by voting to advance racial justice today. This is obviously gearing up for the primary in Rhode Island. As you probably know, in Rhode Island, many elected offices are actually determined in the primary race, not the general. So we want people to vote in the primary. And you'll see the statistic of how few people actually vote in primaries, especially in Newport, but in all over Rhode Island. Newport dominated the slave trade. That's not an understatement. So one of the main ways to remedy past injustice is to advance racial justice today. Does your vote advance racial justice, is the question. Just. There we go. Our own Speaker of the House, who is up for re-election this year, as every legislator, didn't know we had enslaved people in Rhode Island, or that Rhode Island was a main hub of the slave trade. Dominated by Newport. Again, let's remedy past injustice by voting to advance racial justice today. Our vote is our choice. And only 20% of Newport registered voters voted in the primary in 2018. What do you want? That's a map of the triangular trade, which one major hub was Newport. After we kind of switched from England. But Newport dominated the slave trade. And during the mid-1700s, about 30% of white Newport families owned slaves. So let's remedy past injustice by voting to advance racial justice today. Vote in the primary. The primary is September 8th. Deadline to request a mail ballot is August 18th. That's this Tuesday. Again, this is the old colony house in Newport. Very likely built by enslaved Africans. And this was our state house. It was the home of the Rhode Island legislature right up until about 1901. Again, the main point is that we as Rhode Islanders should know our history, and also we should vote today. Exactly. And during the mid-1700s, about 30% of white families owned slaves. It's almost 1 of every 3 families in Newport owned slaves in the mid-1700s. But in 2018, only about 20% of Newport registered voters actually voted in the primary. Let's change that. Let's vote. Get out there and vote. If you want a mail ballot, the deadline to request a mail ballot is August 18th, this Tuesday. So make sure you get out there, get that mail ballot, or you can vote early in person at your Board of Canvassers as well. This is a map of the triangular trade, which one major hub was Newport. And this is an ad in the Newport Mercury advertising enslaved people from 1763. Again, deadline to request a mail-in ballot for the primary is this Tuesday, August 18th. But think about it. Does your vote advance racial justice? Our vote is our choice. You all right, Susie? Susie's a trooper. She's our badass librarian and also projector holder. Woo! It takes a team of people to make these projections happen. One of the team members is Susie, holding the projector and doing some research for us. Again, this is a map of the triangular trade where one major hub was Newport. And this is an ad in the Newport Mercury from 1763 advertising enslaved people for sale in Newport. Again, we are in Newport. We are projecting on the old Colony House. And stay tuned. We'll be in another location soon. Thanks for watching.